Here's a stat that's going to blow your mind. No team in Premier League history has ever blown a 6-point lead this far into the season and not won the league. Arsenal have a 6-point lead over Chelsea. Can they do it?
I'm not certain. There's nothing about this that gives me the confidence that they will do it, but they definitely can.
Okay, so they look good, right? And there's a lot of stats that I think is important. The fact that they kept Tottenham, and again, yes, we could say it's Tottenham, but the fact that they kept Tottenham to 0.07 XG, defensively, they look good. Defense wins championships, right? We talk about this all the time. Defensively, they look good. They had backups, right? Nketiah was in there. A guy who hasn't started. This was his debut for Arsenal. Looked absolutely incredible. Eze scoring a hat-trick. First hat-trick, I believe, in 20 years, I think, against Tottenham.
No, it's like 50.
50 years. Even better, right? I mean, so far, we're seeing layer after layer of this team being all of the issues that Arsenal have had in the past. They weren't deep enough. They didn't have backups in case of injury. They, tactically weren't stout enough to be able to withstand the big teams. They're showing this season they kind of righted all those wrongs. Yes, we're 10 games into the season. It's a little early. But the stat kind of tells you everything you need to know. No team at this point has ever dropped this lead, or at least not won the league, right? And there will be ups and downs. But when you get a guy like Eberechi Eze, someone who I would love to see him in the left. Clearly, he's very good centrally as well.
I think he's a 10. He belongs in the middle of the field.
Look, at the end of the day, I want him on the pitch. I don't care where he's playing. Put him at center back. I honestly don't care. Especially because our center back, 10 roam forward. Anyway, 3 goals. This was a legendary performance. This was a player that was moments away from joining Tottenham. Mm-hmm. Our producer's a big Tottenham fan. He probably doesn't want to hear this again. He was moments away from joining Tottenham. He calls Mikel Arteta and says, hey, if this is ever going to happen, it's got to happen now because I'm about to sign.
Yeah.
Is there any chance? Arsenal do the thing that Arsenal has never really done before, which is say, you know what? Let's get the deal done. Arsenal have always, penny pinched and gone back and forth during the Wenger era. They wouldn't sign anyone to the end of the windows. Arsenal go out and say, you know what? Done. We need this player. Additional depth when they've already made all their purchases, right? They spend the $50 million on Noni Madueke. They bring in Gyökeres, which was the one position everyone thought they needed. They bring in a Mosquera. They bring in an Nketiah. They bring in all these other players. They go out and sign another midfielder when you weren't necessarily. They kept Leandro Trossard, assuming we're not going to need this player. They bring him in, and look how essential he is. It seems like things are lining up for Arsenal in a way that, as an Arsenal fan, even makes me uncomfortable because they've been the runner-up for 3 seasons in a row. Did they do enough to go over that line?
I mean, the things are lining up, especially because the other teams are losing, right? That helps quite a bit.
I mean, City would have been a point away had they not lost to Newcastle.
Yeah.
So it's not like all the threats are gone.
No. But the fact that there's that other teams are stumbling like this, when that was the problem the last 3 seasons of like, why are all these teams almost perfect every season, and Arsenal are they're almost perfect. And so the bar was set so incredibly high. But I mean, all the things that you pointed out, the depth, I said last year, if Odegaard doesn't get injured during that international break, I think they win the league because he was that effective of a player. And the fact that they bring in Eze as a replacement for him, and that's the thing, Eze could play on the left, but very much so. I mean, as soon as Odegaard is not in the middle of the field, that is Eze's spot. I would even argue put Odegaard in Odegaard can't be.
Don't go crazy.
If you want them both on the field on the same time, look, as it gets a hat trick.
We could talk about where, yes, and look, he certainly deserves it. We could talk about where both players would be more effective. I think you find a way to get them both on the pitch, and even if he's on the left, he floats in, and you could have Calafiori kind of take over that spot.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is to look at the fact that Odegaard was missing. Captain of your team. This is a big star. This is essentially incredible. Gabriel Magalhaes, also at one point the captain. Again, huge. So imagine saying, oh, your best center back is going to be missing against your most heated rival, your North London Derby rival. You'd be a little worried. You got a guy who's making his debut that comes in. Gyökeres, the striker. You don't have a striker.
You got Mikel Merino.
Mikel Merino's in there.
Best 9. That's Benzema. I don't know.
Let's be honest. Mikel Merino performs extremely well. So what I'm about to say is going to sound disrespectful. But when I see him there, it's like, remember going to the supermarket with your mom and she goes, "You'll wait in the line. I'm going to go grab something. I'll be right back." And you kind of like,
you panic.
and adults are like, "Well, you go. I ain't supposed to be here, bro. Like, why? I don't know what to do when I don't have money. I can't do this." That's what it feels like. It feels like he's just taking up a spot and it's temporary. The fact that Arsenal were able, with all those injuries, to still find a way to win when Manchester City has quite a bit of injuries. They go to Newcastle. You still think Erling Haaland, what's he got? 48 goals already?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The guy's scoring at will. You've got, obviously I'm hyperbole with the goals there, but you've got, Pep Guardiola. You've got, Phil Foden, the great white hype for all of England, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Phil Foden sneezes, everyone's like, "Oh, what a great cold you just caught," right? You've got all these players that are playing at a high level. You think to yourself, that's a team that's going to win. They're going to start to put pressure on Arsenal. Arsenal collapse. They go out and lose this weekend.
Yeah, well,
Liverpool can't stop losing.
Yeah, I look, the biggest difference from the previous seasons to now is defensively, Arsenal are fantastic in the sense that they're not even allowing shots. This is why David Raya will never be the starter for Spain, because he plays on a good team. And he's not stopping. He's not doing. He
got no stats.
He has nothing to do.
Yeah.
Right? So
he brings a lawn chair to work, bro.
Look at the goal that they did give up. Just a worldie from Richarlison, and that's what. Weirdly,
who's going to be playing on Orlando City next year? You know what I mean?
Right. It's just Richarlison is oddly can't score a tap in, but can score those like nothing. Right. But defensively, like all the changes that they've made, they've been spectacular. They probably have, I would assume, the lowest opponent XG in the league.
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
guess. I don't have that stat in front of me, but
by the way, 0.07 wasn't Tottenham's lowest XG at the end of a match this season.
Oh, look at that.
At one of the match season, they had 0.01.
Hey. Speak with, talk nice to the Europa League champions.
Let me just say, if you were to fall on a ball and it rolls towards goal, I think that actually gives you 0.01 XG.
But no, and then the depth. I mean, having Hincapié, having Mosquera, they have two sets.
Noni Madueke's back.
They have two sets of starting center backs.
They basically have two 11s.
Right. And Arsenal have never been in that position. As soon as Kivior was the guy they had to rely on.
Okay, but he was very good at the end of the season. But early on,
like it's not the fact that these new center backs, this new pair of center backs have been like, you haven't even really noticed that these are new guys.
These are starters.
Yeah, and so that's been a big factor.
Real quick, I don't want to move on until we talk about Chelsea. Do you think Chelsea will be? So Arsenal plays Chelsea at Stamford Bridge next.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after Bayern Munich, after Champions League. This is a 6-pointer, right?
Yeah.
This could be the match that sort of dictates a lot moving forward. Just to give you a stat, the last time Chelsea beat Arsenal was, let me go back. Wow, I have to go really far back.
It's been a while, right?
This can't be right. Is this right? August of 2021, they beat Arsenal 2-0.
That's the last time they won?
That's the last time they beat Arsenal.
Well, so a lot of draws, I assume.
No,
Arsenal couldn't have won all those. They won a lot of those.
It was 2 draws.
Okay.
In that time.
So they've been pretty dominant.
But this is another Chelsea, right? Remember after I glazed up the manager's wife, right?
Sure.
I actually glazed up the manager through the wife.
You glazed the manager.
I said, I'm like, get out of the way. But
I want your husband.
You snack. But ever since I spoke to her, they've been on a tear. Is it because of me? Probably. I think
of course,
I gave him the confidence he needed. But do you think Chelsea provides enough of a threat against Arsenal?
Not against Arsenal. I think. Look, I think Chelsea are they're a little erratic, and some. There are some teams where you totally expect them to beat them, and they have a little bit more trouble. But Joao Pedro, they look good enough. And even without Cole Palmer, that's been still pretty impressive. So it's an important game. To me, it feels like a more important game for Arsenal than it does for Chelsea.
Completely agree.
But the Chelsea, whatever Chelsea shows up that day, I think could make Arsenal have just a tough time because they're gonna have to defend against some pretty good, very pacey Pedro Neto. Like they're gonna have to defend against some pretty pacey players. But yeah, I mean, Arsenal should win this, and I'm not. I did say at the beginning of the season, I thought Chelsea could win the league, especially after watching them at the Club World Cup. So right now, it sort of feels like Chelsea are the biggest threat to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're in second.
Thierry Henry said now is the time Arsenal fans should be talking about it as if it's theirs to win, not trust the process. No more trust in the process. This is it. This is the moment. I think that puts a little bit of additional pressure on Mikel Arteta.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that, but I will say, beat Chelsea, I'll believe.
Okay, and then Liverpool. Liverpool is struggling. They lose 3-0.
They're not even in the conversation for
It's
title
so
race
soon.
now. It's like, can Arne Slot keep his job?
What place are they in? This is
They're like 12.
No, they're like in 8th, I believe, something along those lines. Liverpool, in the last,
They're in 11th.
Oh my goodness,
What are you talking about?
one win in their last 7. And they've lost 6, 18 goals conceded, -11 goal differential.
Here are the teams that they're below. They're below Manchester United. They're below Tottenham. They're below Bournemouth. They're below Sunderland. They're below Brighton. They're below Crystal Palace, Aston Villa.
I mean, yes, they win 1 and they're back in the Champions League spot. So it's
Sure. But for right now.
I mean, it's not that crazy. It's just this team is, I mean, they spent so much money to revitalize already incredibly strong team.
They spent it in the wrong places, bro.
Where should they have spent it?
Frimpong is not a replacement defensively for Trent Alexander-Arnold. All jokes aside, he's not a 1-for-1 replacement. I think that's been clear.
I mean, I would say defensively, I would say he's better, but not as good offensively.
I disagree, and the reason is you have an additional midfielder in the back line that you could bring up.
Sure.
We were just talking about it with other teams that will send a midfielder up. Look at what Arsenal is able to do with Timber. Timber goes up. The connection with him and Saka is absolutely out of this world. Clearly, Trent Alexander-Arnold, when he steps in that midfielder and he was the overload player, he was able to provide that magic because, one, no defender knew how to handle him because all of a sudden there's an additional player in the midfield whose responsibility is it, especially if you're in a half space. Frimpong doesn't provide that. He's not a like-for-like exchange.
I mean, he's also injured. He didn't even play in this
We're
game.
just talking about their purchases.
Yeah.
He's not a like-for-like exchange. You bring in Ekitike. That's your guy.
Yeah.
That's your guy you're going with. A very capable striker. Not if you bring in another player that plays in the exact same position as him. When you spent the money to go to Isak, that was just a safe face. That was a safe face on the market because you went and got Ekitike because you thought, oh, we can't get Isak. And then all of a sudden, Isak's not playing on his team. He doesn't want to take part in the training. He doesn't want to play. Now you're like, oh, let's go get him. You already got. You can't propose to a lady on your wedding day. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You're like, bro, you are about to do this thing already. You spent way too much money in all the wrong places.
Isak looks lost. I mean, I saw some article basically saying that he's like not match fit. I don't know how accurate that is or not, but he clearly did not have a preseason with Liverpool. He didn't play.
Well, I would agree with you.
He was in the middle
10 matches into the season. Now I need to see you.
Exactly. I mean, and fitness doesn't even seem necessarily.
Look at the stat. This is insane. Liverpool have lost back-to-back league matches. League games by a margin of 3+ goals for the first time since April 1965 under Bill Shankly.
Damn, Bill.
Malfunction. I love when Opta always throws that.
They gotta be like, hey, we got a little
they throw like a little extra word in there every time.
Yeah. They're like, yo, pull up the thesaurus.
Yeah. Watch what I'm gonna do.
So
this is first of all, Bill Shankly is Shankly Gates, right? He's a legend under the team.
Right.
So maybe this turns around for Arne Slot, but I don't see that happen.
But there was a moment. There was a ball that was it was I don't know if it was a cross or the ball bounced in a weird way that it got to Isak and he was like basically at the top of the box and he whiffed on the shot just like really bad and he just like was like so frustrated with himself and it's just like, bro, at Newcastle you would have banged this. I
disagree. And look, it's gonna sound like hindsight's 2020, but I did try to say a little bit when Isak was being considered for Arsenal. I said, the highlights make him look like an Henry replacement. The highlights made him look Henry-esque, and I get the comparisons. But if you watch him in 90, he takes a lot of stuff has to happen for him to get to that goal. And sometimes it's frustrating. when you don't get to that goal, all you have is the frustrating. And that's what's happening at Liverpool.
Maybe.
And why are you surrounding him?
I mean, I watched him plenty of 90-minute matches. I thought he was fantastic.
There were moments where he was
Yeah.
great, but there's also moments where he's very frustrating until he gets that goal, and you're like, oh, okay, now he's had a good game. I will say, you spent 150, you are building the team around this guy if you spend 150 on a player. 150 million?
Yeah, without a doubt.
And they're not doing that.
No, not
They're
at
still
all.
trying to wedge him in with Salah and everyone else. It's
Salah's I believe the stat was that Mohamed Salah completed 0 out of 10 dribbles in this game. I mean, as you're watching it, I think at halftime he had maybe 5 incomplete dribbles, and you're watching him and you're like, did you forget how to dribble? Did he forget how to like take on defenders? Like he's like completely. I would even think like that he is like you lost your mojo or whatever. He is not the same player, and it's you know, like obviously this last season the contract stuff and there were a lot of questions if they should bring him back. I honestly think that obviously the death of Diogo Jota, I think this is a big factor of why Liverpool
it's shocking.
are this poor, and I think it's like a lot of the players are not. They're still grieving and they're still kind of figuring out how to like sort all this out, like from an emotional level. Because again, I think it's sort of torn the team apart, and you're seeing, and it's not like you can have bad games, you can have a couple losses, but the consistent poor performances of just like simple things that Liverpool used to do with ease. I mean, people were scared of Salah cutting into the left. It was like Arjen Robben, like cutting into the left. And
you know he's going to do it.
And now he's just like taking too many touches and like has to dribble back. Or
I don't want to discount the Diogo Jota thing because I do think that's a massive issue. But I think we've seen players play with tragic deaths, whether it's at the club or personal lives. We've seen them be able to. Football tends to be a solace for all of that. Football is where you can sort of let that escape your mind. It still feels like these pieces just don't fit together. And Arne Slot's job is fitting these pieces together. You know, very famously, I think it was who was Bill Belichick's ball. Who was the coach above Bill Belichick? Do you remember?
Coach
back in the day, the guy that was very famous.
Not Rex Ryan.
No, he was
Bill Parcells.
Bill Parcells. Okay, so Bill Parcells, when he got the job at the Jets, they said there's going to be a sporting director essentially who's going to go out, and he goes, no, I want both jobs because if you're going to ask me to cook, why won't you let me go buy the ingredients?
Yeah,
I think that's kind of where Arne Slot is right now. You made a lot with ingredients that were there already. I'm not going to take anything away from last season. You were incredible making Gravenberch a better player. You made that team click in a way that Jurgen Klopp did not do. And that's in fact, there's evidence of that.
Mm-hmm.
You saw what they were able to do last season where they ran away with the league. Now, you went out and bought a bunch of ingredients. You got to make that look. You got to make this
your team now.
This got to be as good as last season. And you're not doing it. So I can understand why Arne Slot, there's pressure on his job right now. And you need to find a way to make this click. You got to be able to put your arm around Mohamed Salah, who's had some of the best managers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be able to put your arm around him and go, hey, I need you to do XYZ better. I need you to play with this guy better. You need to put your arm around Isak. You need to put your arm around Ekitike. Ekitike. Why did I say that wrong? You need to be able to do that. You need to find a way to get these players to play as great as you made Gravenberch play last season.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and then also on Nottingham's point, I'm like, why couldn't Sean Dyche do that with Everton, bro?
Damn.
We didn't score any goals on the damn thing.
Is Sean Dyche not the coach we thought he was? Or is Everton as an organization?
Maybe he lights up against Liverpool. Maybe he still has a little bit Evertonian in him. But yeah, incredible, for in the Premier League. And I mean, it feels like this is Arsenal's title to lose. But we shall see. Let us know who you think is going to end up winning the title.
Can I tell you about another Tottenham player who had a bad weekend? Heung-min Son. I know he's not on the team anymore, but he moved over to MLS and he had a rough one. He just got eliminated on the same weekend. He got eliminated from the MLS playoffs. And if you want to watch that video, just click right here.